recently decided to adopt 10 cats, and they've been shedding everywhere. Dad's pissed about it, and I don't blame him. But he's also kind of a cranky, bitter person in general. I'm also convinced he secretly hates me and Mom. I'll get more into that later. Oh, and also, we live next to a crazy old lady who always screams at midnight because she's convinced it's the devil's hour. Anyway, if you want to know whether I ever escape this place, hit like and subscribe. I lived with my parents as an only child, except I don't understand why they even had me in the first place, because it seemed like they really didn't like having a kid around. I couldn't even sit on Mom's lap because one of her dumb cats was always lying on her. Yep, she's been taking in dirty strays for as long as I can remember. Once when I was 4, I finally snapped from jealousy and shoved one of them off of her.
My mommy!
Flora, why would you do that?
'Cause that fat lazy cat was in my spot.
Don't speak that way about Gigi. Apologize, right now. Yeah, she made me say sorry to a cat that she probably loved more than me. But believe it or not, Dad was actually worse than Mom. In his eyes, everything I did was wrong. My fashion sense was weird. I always had my nose in a book, and I didn't eat enough. Maybe because all the food in our fridge was stale and gross. Then one day when I turned 15, things took an interesting turn. A boy and a girl transferred to my school who were twins named Jan and Matilda. The sister seemed nice, but from the moment Jan sat in class with me, he kept staring at me like I had 3 heads. And wherever I went, he always seemed to be nearby, like he was following me. At one point, Jan came up to my locker. "What's your problem, man? You've been stalking me all day." "I know. I've been watching you all day, and there's something about you I just don't trust." "What are you—" Suddenly, Matilda ran up to me and asked if Jan was harassing me. He has a habit of bullying other kids. Don't worry, I'll report him to the principal. No, I'm not doing anything wrong. And Matilda, I don't want you talking to this freak. Do you understand me? Jan, if you don't walk away right now, you'll wake up tomorrow morning with missing teeth. Jan finally stormed off, and Matilda pulled me aside. She told me not to go near her brother and friends, which angered Jan, but I didn't care. I finally had a friend who understood what I was going through. I always told Matilda I planned on running away from home someday, and one night, she took that statement seriously. At around 1 a.m., Matilda texted me a random address and said to meet her right away. I arrived at an empty parking lot, and Matilda told me she was waiting for a helicopter to come pick her up. A helicopter? What are you talking about? Flora, I've been wanting to tell you about this for a while. Do you know what a second family is? You know, a mom and dad you secretly stay with whenever you need a break from home? What? No, I've never heard of that. What is that? I'll explain later. Anyway, I have a second family that lives on an island. They're billionaires. The island is only an hour away, and sometimes they send a private helicopter to pick me up. You said you've been wanting an escape from home, so I was wondering if you wanted to come with me on one of my island trips. Matilda, what you're saying doesn't make any sense. You're telling me you have an adopted family that picks you up in a helicopter and— Look, there it is! Holy fudge! That helicopter is actually there to pick you up? I stood in shock as a helicopter actually landed and a woman stepped out to invite us inside. And she insisted that she could fly us back before dawn, since the island was so close. This was insane. I don't know if it was because Matilda begged or the fact that I was curious about what a second family was, but I agreed to go. And when we landed, I saw we were next to a mansion on the ocean shore. This is where the family lives? I still don't understand what a second family is. Do your parents know about it? No, of course not. My second family runs a secret charity organization. They let depressed kids stay at their mansion whenever they need an escape from their lives. I found out about it at my old school. My second mom was my guidance counselor, and she told me about it. How come they have to keep it a secret? Because my parents aren't gonna let me stay at some stranger's house. I have to sneak out or tell them that I'm sleeping over at a friend's house. At that second, Matilda pointed to a bunch of teenagers swimming in the ocean and laughing. These were all guests of Matilda's second family? She then led me inside where her second parents greeted me warmly. We're so glad you could visit us, Flora. Matilda's been wanting to bring you here for a while. Let me show you to your bedroom. Wait, I have a bedroom here? All the guests have a bedroom here in case they want to stay the night. You and I could skip school tomorrow and stay here. I was about to tell her no when Matilda's second mom showed me to my bedroom. I had my own bed, my own laptop, and the walls were covered with MSA posters. Matilda told me how much you love my story animated. I'm so glad you're staying with us, sweetheart. I hung out with Matilda for several hours at the island before going back, and I had the best time. From that night on, Matilda and I would escape to the mansion every weekend, and nobody knew our secret. One morning, I was lying in the hammock when second mom carried over a tray of breakfast for me, and it smelled incredible. I made you some bread rolls made from scratch, Flora. Wow, Mom's never made me a homemade breakfast before. So, what's your story, Flora? What happened at home that was so awful that you had to escape to our island? I don't know what happened, but I started pouring my heart out to second mom about everything. What a jerk Dad was, how the house was a mess, how Mom loved her zillion cats. You know, part of my job as your second mom is to love you like my own daughter. But you have tons of other adopted daughters, and you barely know me. You're all special to me in your own way. Give me a chance, Flora. I want to get to know you. Suddenly, she leaned over and hugged me, and I felt my heart skip a beat. I didn't remember the last time my own mom hugged me, but this felt incredible. I was still thinking about that hug the next afternoon in the library. Then suddenly, Jan, of all people, sat next to me. I know about the island, Flora. I overheard you and Matilda talking about it the other night, about the Second Family Top Secret Charity Foundation. What? I don't know what you're talking about. Leave me alone. I don't associate with bullies. Listen, I was out of line before. I shouldn't have been so suspicious of you. You've actually been a great friend to my sister, but you guys can't keep going to that island. Trust me. I know about Matilda's second family, and you can't keep seeing them. You're putting yourself in danger, and you could get seriously hurt. And why would I trust what you say? Matilda told me you're a neighborhood bully. You live to see other people miserable. So of course you don't want Matilda and I to go somewhere that makes us happy. I stomped off and took the bus home. But when I arrived, I was hit with wild news. Dad's job got transferred to another city, and we were moving an hour away. That also means you have to get rid of those dirty strays and finally become normal. Are you kidding? I'm taking them in the car. All 18 of them. What the flippin' fudge? I don't want to move. I've already made friends here. You can't make me. But my parents said we'd leave in 2 weeks. I immediately called Matilda that night and asked her what I should do. So? Ask second mom if you can move in permanently. Matilda, no, that's crazy. I don't see how that would even work out. You said you don't want to move, right? And I know how much you love the island and our second family. It's worth a try. I took the bus to meet Matilda at our usual spot, except she said the helicopter couldn't pick us up for a couple of hours. We just waited in that empty parking lot until they sent the helicopter. And when I finally went in to meet second mom, I told her everything. It's numb with shock as second mom poured herself some more tea. No, I needed her to be my full-time mom. My own mom was the worst. Second mom tried to apologize and tell me she loved me, but I didn't want to hear it. I smashed her cup of tea onto the floor and ran outside to meet Matilda. We needed to fly back, and I never wanted to come here again. On the helicopter ride back, I tried to hold back tears, and when we got back to the parking lot, I froze when I suddenly saw Jan waiting for us. Oh my gosh, what are you doing here? Did you track us down or something? Yeah, 'cause I was worried about you. I knew you and Flora had been sneaking off places, but I didn't know it was in this abandoned lot. Do you know how dangerous this neighborhood is? Mom and Dad drove over here with several cops, Matilda. Matilda looked pissed as her parents called her over, and Jan pulled me aside, saying he needed to talk to me about something important. And well, I was too tired to argue with him. Flora, you and I both know that Matilda is mentally ill. She hallucinates and has imaginary friends and places she goes to, including that faraway island you guys go to with the second family. Shut up, Jan! That island we traveled to together is real. Even you can't see it. Come on, stop lying. Fine. So what if that place isn't real? Yeah, I realized Matilda was hallucinating at first. You know, with the helicopter. But I decided to play along with her fantasy. And I got caught up in it too. My life is tough, and I needed a perfect imaginary island to escape to, with an imaginary mansion and imaginary mom. Jan looked at me for a long time and ended up calling my parents, telling them everything that happened. They drove over to take me to an overnight treatment center where I could get some therapy. Jan even came with us and sat with me in the waiting room. I don't get it. I thought you were a jerk bully who hated everyone. I never bullied anyone. Before we knew Matilda was mentally ill, she'd tell me about her imaginary friends who were being mean to her, and I thought they were real. One time, she told me about a girl with blue hair and blue eyes who was harassing her, and she lived in our neighborhood. I thought that was you, so I confronted you to protect my sister. Wow. Well, I guess that explained things. Jan was being really sweet, but I still felt heartbroken. I missed my second mom, and when my actual parents came over to talk to me, it made me miss her more. Flora, we had a long talk with Jan and a few doctors. We had no idea you were feeling this way. And I never meant to make you feel like you weren't good enough. Your mom and I were struggling a lot with money, and we were stressed a lot of the time. So I was angry most of the time. We love you, sweetie. Are you two kidding me? You think you can just apologize and I'll just magically forgive you? No, of course not. But we've decided not to move. We see you've made some friends here, and we want to have a fresh start with you. Mom hugged me for the first time in ages, and for that brief moment, my anger melted away. Later, I found out Matilda was getting treatment here too, and luckily, we'd be sharing a room. I'm really sorry I got you into this mess, Flora. But things are gonna get better. And by the way, my brother has a huge crush on you. What? No, he doesn't. Really? Yep, I can tell by the way he looks at you. Plus, he gave me this box of chocolates to give you. Wow, he'd actually gotten me chocolates and wrote a get well card. So maybe after therapy, I'd get myself a boyfriend. Matilda left the room right then, and I thought I was alone, when suddenly, I saw second mom sitting on my bed. I'm really happy you're feeling better, Flora. Go away, please. I don't want to see you anymore. You're not real. I know. I won't come again. It's time for you to make peace with your real mom and your real life. Okay, dude. I'm not gonna listen to a ghost lecture me about how to live my life. But when I turned to look at her, she was gone. Part of me felt sad, but I knew it was time to let her go. Take a deep breath, Flora. Here's to a fresh start.